Ask someone on the street what it means to be rich, and they will almost always say $1 million. But $1 million barely changes your daily routine anymore. What actually changes your life is crossing specific net worth thresholds where entirely new doors swing open and old problems just vanish overnight like they never existed. Today, we are walking through every single level of net worth from zero all the way up to 10 figures and what life actually looks and feels like at each one. Some of these levels will surprise you because the jump between them is not what you think. We start at zero, and more people sit here than anyone wants to admit. At zero net worth, you are living paycheck to paycheck with your rent due in 9 days and exactly enough in your checking account to cover it if nothing goes wrong. Your car makes a weird noise, and you just turn up the radio because a mechanic visit could mean choosing between groceries and your phone bill. You know the exact prices of everything at the grocery store, and you have a mental calculator running every time you put something in the cart. Every single financial decision at this level is a trade-off against another basic need, and the stress of it never fully leaves your body, even when you are technically fine for the month. Then you scrape together $10,000, and for the first time in your life, you can actually breathe. You have a small emergency fund sitting in a savings account, and when your tire blows out on the highway, you can get it replaced the same afternoon without rearranging your entire month. You are not rich by any measure, but you can sleep through the night without your stomach turning over next month's bills. The psychological difference between 0 and 10,000 is enormous because you go from constantly reacting to problems to actually being able to absorb one bad surprise without everything falling apart. Cross 100,000 and something fundamentally shifts because the math starts working in your favor for the first time. At 6 figures of net worth, your money is generating noticeable returns, and you can see your balance climbing even on months where you do not add anything extra. You probably own a decent car that you bought without financing, and you have started maxing out a retirement account. People at this level can walk into a restaurant without checking the menu prices first, which sounds small but represents a genuine shift in how you move through the world. You start thinking about money as a tool that works for you instead of a resource you are constantly chasing and running out of. Now, 500,000 is the most underrated number on this entire list. 500,000 means you could theoretically stop working and survive for over a decade in most cities just by drawing down carefully. You are not going to do that because you still have ambitions, but knowing you could is a kind of psychological armor that changes how you negotiate, how you take risks, and how you respond to a bad boss. People at this level start saying no to things that people at lower levels feel forced to tolerate. $1 million. Everybody fantasizes about this number, but almost nobody understands what it actually looks like. A person with $1 million net worth is usually not driving a Lamborghini or living in a mansion. They are a 50-something dentist in Ohio with a paid-off house worth $400,000, a retirement account with $500,000, and another 100 in various savings. The millionaire next door looks completely ordinary because the money is locked inside assets and not sitting in a vault like a movie villain. $1 million generates roughly 40 to 50,000 a year in passive income, which is a comfortable supplement, but not a lifestyle of private jets. You can retire early on $1 million if you move to a low-cost country and live modestly, but in an American city, you are still working and still budgeting and still saying no to certain luxuries. Jump to $5 million, and life genuinely changes in ways that are hard to explain to someone who has not experienced it. At $5 million, you can live off your investments alone and maintain a solidly upper-middle-class lifestyle in almost any American city. You fly business class without thinking twice, and your kids go to whatever school fits them best, regardless of tuition. But here is the strange part. 5 million feels less rich than most people imagine because you are now surrounded by people who have 10 or 20 million and the goalposts keep moving. At 10 million, something interesting happens because money stops being something you think about day to day. A person sitting on 10 million has a financial advisor managing their portfolio and a CPA handling their taxes, and they check their accounts maybe once a quarter out of curiosity rather than necessity. They own their home outright in a desirable neighborhood and probably have a second property somewhere warm. The biggest shift at this level is time. 10 million buys you the ability to structure your entire day around what you actually want to do rather than what you need to do. And that kind of freedom changes a person in ways that are hard to describe until you have experienced it. 50 million puts you in a world that ordinary people do not even know exists. At this level, you have a family office managing your wealth, which is essentially a private financial firm that works only for you. You own multiple properties across different countries, and you travel by private jet not because you are showing off, but because the time savings justify the cost when your hours are worth what they are. Your children will never need to work unless they want to, and your grandchildren probably will not either. The strange thing about 50 million is that your social circle completely changes because you can no longer relate to everyday financial conversations, and your old friends start treating you differently, whether they mean to or not. By the time you reach 100 million, your entire relationship with money has inverted. You are no longer chasing money because money is chasing you. People bring you deals constantly because your name on an investment adds credibility and attracts other investors. You have a full staff, including security and personal assistants and household managers, and your daily life is orchestrated by other people so you can focus on whatever you find meaningful. The irony at 100 million is that many people at this level say they were happier at 10 million when things felt simpler and more personal. And then there is 1 billion, a number so large that it breaks most people's ability to comprehend it. If you spent $10,000 every single day, it would take you over 270 years to burn through a billion. A billionaire does not just own homes, they own the land under entire neighborhoods. They do not just invest in companies, they buy them outright and install new leadership before lunch. Jeff Bezos once bought 3 adjacent apartments in Manhattan for $80 million just so he could combine them into one unit with a view he liked better. That kind of purchase does not even show up as a noticeable dip in a billionaire's portfolio. At this level, you are not participating in the economy the same way everyone else is. You are shaping it. Policy decisions, infrastructure projects, media empires, and entire industries bend around the preferences of people at this level, whether the rest of us notice or not. Here is the strange thing about this entire ladder, though. The happiness research consistently shows that well-being rises sharply up to about $75,000 of annual income, and then the gains flatten dramatically. The jump from 0 to 100,000 in net worth will change your emotional life more than the jump from 10 million to 100 million ever could. The people climbing the highest often report that the best moment was somewhere around level 3 or 4, when the fear finally stopped and the freedom quietly arrived without anyone noticing. The top of the ladder has better views, but the air is thinner and lonelier than the brochure suggested. If that changes how you think about your own number, hit subscribe.